Welcome back to another episode of the Channel 914 podcast. I'm your host, Rail Allen. Thank you for everybody listening, subscribing, liking, commenting, continuing to support. I appreciate every single one of you. Almost to 100 subscribers, man. I got 98 now, so I just need 2 more as of right now. Hopefully by the time this actually gets posted, I'll be at that 100. But as of right now, we at 98. So just 2 more people. That's all I need. And then, we on to the next goal. As you see, have a guest here today. Very distinguished gentleman. You know what I'm saying? He's an entrepreneur, owner of multiple businesses. He's a personal trainer, has a black belt in Jiu Jitsu. He's a self-described beach connoisseur. You know what I'm saying? World traveler, traveled the 7 seas. Right. You know what I'm saying? You look at his Instagram page, like half the photos are in another country somewhere. I mean, the brother is all over the place. You know what I'm saying? But he's an all-around good brother. Please give it up for my man, Jim Williams.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me, Big Red.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on, brother. It's an honor and a pleasure.
I'm glad to be here, man. I appreciate it.
So, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So, I know you weren't always solely an entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so because I used to work for the railroad, right? Yep. Yeah, which
yep.
Was it Metro?
Amtrak.
Amtrak. You used to work for Amtrak. Yep. So, going from Amtrak, what ultimately led to you just making that leap and saying, I'm going to go ahead and just, be an entrepreneur and work for myself and myself alone?
It was really just dropped in my lap, bro.
Really?
It's so crazy how it happened. That was like my 3rd railroad that I worked for. So,
okay.
Whenever I would get laid off from one railroad, I wouldn't sit around, man. I'd apply for another one and I'm gone. So I was at Amtrak for like 5 years. I got about 12 years railroad time total.
Okay.
I was at Amtrak for about 5 years. I was working second shift, and I always worked on my business. Okay. I always wanted to be, originally I wanted to be an electrical contractor because I was an electrician.
Right.
At Amtrak. So I would work 3 to 11, but I would, from 8 a.m. to probably 2 p.m., I would get up and I would go do service calls and install ceiling fans and light fixtures, just working on my business,
Right.
And I had a guy out of Texas call me to rewire a house.
Okay.
Go over to Harvey to rewire this house. I got my son with me. We pulling wire and everything. We wire. We set up temporary power in like 20 minutes, and the guy's so impressed, and he's like, "Oh man, I got a guy down in Texas that has a bunch of work in Chicago. I hate being here. I'm gonna introduce you to him."
Okay.
Introduced me to this guy in Texas who was a subcontractor for Wells Fargo and Chase.
Okay. And
he dumped just all the work I can handle. I got so much work, the railroad would have been wasting my time. I resigning, man. I was doing it. I did it for about 2 months.
Yeah.
Working there in the morning, going straight to the railroad from 3 to 11. And I was like, it didn't compare. So I left, man, and I did that. I had that contract. That was right around when all the foreclosures was in Chicago. I had that contract for about 3 or 4 years, and then that ended because the foreclosures started decreasing. People started, the economy started coming back.
Yeah.
So I contemplated. I thought about it. I said, man, I ain't going back to punching the clock. So I just stayed out here. I've been out here since.
Yeah.
It's been almost 10 years now.
Okay. So I see you started Certified Property Solutions in 2009, correct? Mm-hmm. So you were still working.
Still was with the railroad.
Right, you was when you first started.
I always had a company. I always would, advertise it. I always believed in it. Even at the railroad, like when I got there, I could do my work in 2 hours.
Okay.
I literally had 6 hours to myself. So that's all I worked on, man. I researched my insurance, worked on websites, just, visualizing, getting myself ready for that break. And it came, and I was like, there it is. So
the perfect example of when preparation meets opportunity. Exactly. When that opportunity dropped in your lap, you was waiting. You was ready for it.
I was ready. I was super ready. The quality of life, you got to think about it. The quality of life was terrible, man.
Yeah.
It was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be on second shift. When I originally started, I was on third shift, with Tuesday and Thursday off.
Okay.
So Friday was like my Monday.
Okay.
At 11 p.m. So, I was angry. You know what I mean? I was literally angry. I mean, you go to the gas station at 11 p.m., you like, everybody getting cups and they got on dresses.
Right. You going to work.
Where y'all going? Well, it's Monday. You know what I mean? But, yeah.
Yeah, man. So you say you've been out here, solely for like about a decade now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that time, like, what do you feel like that you've learned that's made you better? Like when you first started to where you are now.
It teaches you so much, man. It's weird because before Amtrak, I was a supervisor at Norfolk Southern.
Okay.
So they sent me through almost like a 6-month program to be a supervisor. Okay. You know what I mean? Like empower employees,
right? How
to send an email, how to, get up and get a little bit done, how to motivate your employees. And it's weird because that prepared me for being an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? It's so weird. Like it was weird. It was like supervisor college or whatever. So some of the stuff that helped me a whole lot, but some of the stuff I've learned is just how to read people and how to engage with people. You know what I mean? That was some of the harder things. Managing your money is huge. Managing your budget is huge. So that's something that you learn continually. You know what I mean? Because you see a lot of people who start business or have businesses, sometimes they're handed down from family members, or they have like coaches.
Right.
It's super hard when you don't have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you just really figuring all this out by yourself.
So it's a wave, and whenever you get ready to give up, you got to realize it takes 5 to 10 years to really, you know what I mean? The average business doesn't do well for the first 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In 3 to 5, you might see a profit. From 5 to 10, you establish.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, man. So that's really interesting, man. So it's like, because you think about, because when you have a job, it's like, even if you take vacation, even if you don't go to work, you still have that check that you can depend on every 2 weeks or once a month, or, you know what I'm saying, twice a month or whatever, right? But when you go out and it's just all on you, then you literally have to earn everything. Everything is solely on you.
You don't have anybody to report to. Nobody's telling you to get up and be on time.
Right.
You're your own alarm clock. You know what I mean? You're your own motivator. So you got to motivate yourself, and you got to motivate the people that work for you.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of consistency, man. It takes a lot of faith.
I'm sure.
You can't
take that leap.
Man, you can't waver. You really got to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I think that's the hardest part. It's not, I think a lot of people believe in themselves, but you have to have the work ethic too. The railroad taught me so much, bro. Like, it taught me a lot. And I'm thankful for that time that I was on there, because it taught me a lot, you know what I mean, about work.
And you just never know, like, what's preparing you, man. Like, all the shit that you realize you're going through. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, man, like in Karate Kid, where, like, Mr. Miyagi had him waxing off. It was just like, man, why you got me doing this shit? You know what I'm saying?
And you get it.
Yeah, and then finally when you apply, you're just like, oh, I was doing all this. So all of this wasn't for nothing.
You literally get
and you
it.
just never know where where you're going to learn those skills. You know what I'm saying? You can apply those later on. It's just like, damn.
To dig even deeper, when I was going through the supervisory program, I was on the road in middle America.
Yeah.
Young African American, supervising other races that are 20 or 30 years older than I am. Just imagine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure they wouldn't.
No. It wasn't that receiving. But it was like you had to learn how to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and I've seen that in every way. Like, even like when I started 10 years ago, I'm 45, but I was 35 then.
Right.
To get these older plumbers to work for me that are 50, 55 years old in Chicago, that's difficult. But I reverted back to being on the railroad, trying to get these older guys that's 5 years from retirement,
right,
to get in work, to do some work for this young city boy. You know what I mean? So it helped me, man. I'm thankful for it.
So, like, what would you say, like, some of the mistakes or pitfalls that you've made, on the way that you've learned from?
I hate to say it, but believe in people. Oh, man.
Wait, no, you got to expound on that. What you mean?
People will tell you absolutely anything from every walk of life.
Yeah.
I can't generalize anybody. That mom that wants you to do her kitchen, or that real estate developer who wants you to do 30 units. Oh, yeah, I'm going to pay you. You're going to get paid. The check's going to be in the mail. You cannot believe these people. You can't let anybody get ahead of your money, and you have to watch everyone. Everyone has to be, you know what I mean? It's a tough, in the industry that I'm in, it's a tough industry, but you got to watch everyone,
So basically, speaking of the industry you're in, so like what, like certified solutions, like, so what exactly is it? What do you do with it?
Originally I was a general contractor, but like I said, I got into property preservation.
Okay.
So what that is you preserve vacant properties.
Okay.
So after, like I said, after it dried up, I went back into general contracting where I was doing kitchens and baths, and basements and roofs, and pretty much everything. I could build a house from the bottom up.
Okay.
From the years of knowledge that I have. And then I ended up getting back into property preservation.
Okay.
So now I don't want to do anything. This is, it's a government organization that I work for now that I just preserve properties, vacant properties. So I don't have to deal with any more customers anymore. And that's my avenue. You know what I mean? It's like my first 10 years of business, I was learning. But now I found my lane, and I'm going to stick with it. So I've gotten into demolition and just really property preservation, demolition, and snow removal. That's what I'm going to focus on. And those I can branch off into a lot of aspects of government.
Okay.
City of Chicago, Cook County, Department of Aviations, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many angles that I want to go in. That's why I feel like I'm so young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even after 10 years, I'm so young in business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you still got a lot of room to grow.
A lot of room to grow and a lot of room to learn. You know,
Yeah.
They say you don't stop learning until you're dead. So I believe in that.
Yeah, forever a student.
Yeah.
So what do you like most about being a business owner?
Being able to go out of town. I can go out of town. I can travel, bro. Like you said, man. Like I said before, like the quality of life, man. Like I just remember submitting for time off and getting denied. Man.
That's never happened to me, bro.
Really?
That's never. I've been blessed enough to, like, whenever I've had jobs, like whenever I submitted time off, I've never had anybody tell me no. I can only imagine.
Yeah. We literally, I think the first 2 years you got like 2 weeks.
Oof.
First 2 years you had, and not 14 days. These are like 10 days.
Oh yeah, so five
business days. Oh man, could you imagine?
No, I can't imagine.
I just remember like first buying the house that I'm in now and calling home to see who came to the barbecue. You know what I mean? Like, who showed up? You know, how? Because I got to get the grill started before I leave. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just the quality of life is just, man, I love it. The ups and downs, and it outweighs everything with having, like, freedom.
So the freedom is really...
free. I love the freedom. I mean, you the money. I mean, you obviously generate. I mean, you will, once you get good at it and once you've been in it for you'll generate more money than you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's all for you.
And it's all for me, and you dictate how much, you really can dictate how much money you make. You know what I mean? If you really apply yourself, you get up and you start networking and you start analyzing what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right.
Right.
You start being more efficient. You continue to invest in your business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Not just spending the money, putting the money back into it.
No. If you keep putting it, you become more efficient.
Yeah.
You buy better equipment. You know what I mean? You hire more people. It's just gonna grow. I just feel like it's gonna grow. You know what I mean? You believe in it. That's all you need.
Yeah, and then the less work you actually have to do yourself.
Less work you have to. And eventually, that's where you want to be, where you actually have people working for you to do all the work. Sometimes when like we always talk about, it's hard to find people.
Yeah.
When I do find somebody, it's wonderful to be on vacation and know that they're working.
And not having to worry about whether the job is getting done correctly.
And to generate income while you on the beach, I mean, it's beautiful to see people that work from home or work from a computer,
right, and
can make money on the beach. But for me, that's just wonderful.
Yeah, to
be gone and still, you know what I mean.
So what's if there's anything that you don't like about it?
I enjoy it, man. I think I believe that I'm an entrepreneur by heart. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't. Like, I'm really looking forward to something else.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I would love to get into retail at the same time still, you know what I mean, having a construction company. You know what I mean? I would love to get into selling something that would sell itself.
So have you had any or is it something you want to talk about, or?
I would love to have a liquor store. You know what I mean?
A liquor store. Why a liquor store?
It sells itself. Liquor and chicken. What?
I mean, if it's one thing that the pandemic taught us, because they was buying bennies out, bro.
They're gonna consume.
Yeah.
Us. us as well. You know,
Yeah,
we were
absolutely.
consuming a lot of alcohol. And a lot of food.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit too much at times.
People, yeah, exactly. People have been doing it for years, and there's just so few of us in that industry.
This is true.
That's what turns me on about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where, like, man, like different. You know, in our communities, man. I mean, there are some, but for the most part, like when you go in these liquor stores, you don't see people that look like us, not that are owning it. You know, and then that goes with a lot of things, especially like, you know, the beauty supply stores, even like the restaurants, man. Like all the like the sharks and the head, you know what I'm saying?
You never see that.
You don't see a lot of us. You're starting to see more.
You're starting to see more.
Yeah.
And which is a beautiful thing.
It is.
And in our own community, because this is where we spend our money at.
Oh yeah.
Why shouldn't we be the owners of it?
And letting the dollar circulate.
Letting the dollar circulate. If you look at the way dollars circulate, it's the least in our community. You know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the very least in our community. Why can't we circulate our money?
So, if you could have a conversation with 2009 Jimmy, who's just really getting started, just, you know, Certified Solutions is just getting started, you're still working for the railroad and you're doing your own thing on the side. If there's something that you could tell that version of Jimmy, what would it be?
To be honest,
yeah,
he wouldn't have listened. I'm serious, man. He would not have listened.
Yeah.
I had an old timer tell me a long time ago. He said, no matter how much the job pays, sometimes at the end, you might not make no money. I didn't believe that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was looking at him like, man, this old timer, he hating on me, man. This job make, you know, not to drop numbers, this job pay $90,000. I'm going to make some money.
Right.
That's not always the fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
At the end, you could be sitting there like, what happened? But it takes that to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes if you hard-headed like myself, you have to learn. And I really, truly believe, man, everything has, now I know.
Right.
So it's like people told me stuff, and I listened to people. Some of it I took, but some of it I didn't.
Right.
But it's not much. I think I needed to go through every pitfall, up and down, highs and lows, to really understand. You know what I mean? How things work.
Heck,
So,
nothing teaches like experience, man.
Experience, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't, and I don't want to, you know, I can't say, you know, I would have told myself something, but myself then probably wouldn't listen. You know what I mean? I needed to put my hand in the fire and get burned. So now I know. You know.
Yeah. Well, at least you know.
Yeah.
You know, the self-awareness,
I'm
man.
honest with myself.
Yeah, and that's important, man. Yeah, you got to be, man. Self-awareness, accountability.
Yeah, man.
That's good shit, man. That's good shit. Yeah. So you also own a gym.
Yep.
Power Fitness on 10903 South Michigan.
Yes, sir.
You co-own it.
Co-own it
with your wife. With your wife. So pros and cons of owning a business with your wife. Now, I mean, I'm sure there are absolutely no cons, right? I'm sure that everything is just always wonderful. You know, it's the best decision you've ever made in your life. I'm sure. No,
yeah, I mean, it's the best thing about it I could say is probably having somebody you can trust.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna run off with the money. She ain't gonna run off with the tools.
Right,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
She ain't gonna steal your customers. Because in construction, anybody you introduce to your customer, they gonna try to run off with your customer. You know, the best thing about it is having somebody you can trust that's absolutely invested in the same goal. You know what I mean? So, and that's rare. You know, both of us are into fitness, so it's a passion of both of ours. You know what I mean? So
how did y'all come to the decision? Like, obviously, say both of y'all are into fitness, you know, but like a lot of people are into fitness. But what made you decide to, like, you know what, let's do a gym?
It's literally the same thing, dude. It just fell.
Really?
At the time, when I first was working for the guy out of Texas, I was working for a couple of other agents that would just find contractors to do work on these vacant properties. So he was a direct agent for, I want to say Wells Fargo, and he called me. He said, Jim, I got a building that Wells Fargo can't get rid of. You know, I think you should buy it. You know, he came and showed me the building, and I'm like, you know, how much should I offer? You know, it was little to next to nothing. You know, he said I would offer him half, and they accepted.
Wow.
And I literally came to the table with an entire structure for what a person could buy a raggedy car for.
Jesus.
Mind you, I this is the business that I in, so it had no infrastructure.
Right.
It had no electrical, no HVAC, no plumbing.
But you know how to do all that.
I had to do all of that.
Yeah.
So I did all the design myself. So even when I purchased it, I didn't know what I wanted to do with it.
Right.
You know, so we threw it around. We threw around ideas. Typical daycare or typical this, typical that, and we're just like, both of us have jobs. Both of us were, like entrepreneurs in different ways. So we was just like, why don't we open a gym? We both enjoy working out. Yeah. And that's what we did. We just opened a gym. I always knew I wanted to teach Jiu Jitsu and I wanted to teach fitness. She's always been into it, so we just went with that.
So it's been open since 2017?
Yep, 2017. Yeah. We were doing really good before COVID. Really good, you know what I mean? But it slowed down after COVID, but it's slowly starting to pick back up now.
Yeah, I know a lot of, especially the smaller gyms, man. Yeah. COVID really hit a lot of people hard when it comes to that. Yeah. So it's good that you've been able to last through it, though.
Yeah, and it's something like I've always said. I don't have to make money off of jiu-jitsu. I don't have to make money off of fitness. I just enjoy it. Yeah, you know what I mean. You know it. I just enjoy it, man. Just even when I was teaching kids, that was a beautiful experience. Just even, us, the adults class, man. Just seeing the ladies lose weight and meet their goals. Yeah. Seeing the guys go to tournaments and win, and getting better and better at jiu-jitsu is that's pay for me. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, man. That's just very admirable of you, man.
I love it, man. It keep me sharp, man. I gotta keep y'all off me, man.
Nah, man, we ain't giving you too many problems. Don't sit here and try to act like you. But entrepreneurship, man, is really popular these days. A lot of people are really trying to get into it, man. They want to leave the corporate life, leave the 9-to-5 behind, and just be their own boss, make their own, live life on their own terms, man. Which seems really attractive, But obviously, like you said, there's other sides to that too. Right. So what advice would you give to somebody that is in that 9-to-5 world right now but trying to transition into being a full-time entrepreneur?
Right. I mean, my advice is to give your all at what you're doing. Like, if you give your all in your 9-to-5, you're going to give your all as an entrepreneur. Yeah. I always tell people, and they think it's like a negative statement, but you cannot be a boss before you're a worker. You have to be a very good worker. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ask people to do something that I can't do. All right. So I know what to expect. Right. I know how long it takes. Right. I know how physically demanding it is. You know what I mean? Right. So in order to be a boss, you got to understand, and not, I don't want to throw that word around like that, but in order to be an entrepreneur, you really have to understand what the people that work for you or the customer and everybody else needs. And I don't think you can do that unless you've actually put that time in. Like I said, if I hadn't went through that time at the railroad, I wouldn't know how to deal with people like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't have, I didn't go into this with a business degree. You know what I mean? I can understand if you have a business management or you have a finance degree or whatever, you might be in better shape, but I didn't go into it like that. You know what I mean? So I think you should really put your all, like when people, I get a lot of people that come to, a lot of young guys that come to me and say, well, I want to do what you do. And I said, the best thing to do is to plant that seed where you are now. Be loyal to the person that you're working for now. Yeah. Stay up under that person. And I can guarantee you, if he's a good person or if they're a good person, they're going to give you the advice and knowledge that you need. I know I would. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, coming up, you didn't have that. So I always tell people, man, just be loyal to the person, to what you're doing. Just plant those seeds and it's going to grow eventually. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's good advice, man. Yeah. Very, very, very inspirational. So, man, transitioning to the other part of life. Mm-hmm. So what got you started with jiu-jitsu, man? Like, what happened? How did you get there?
My story is so weird. To be honest, man, I had a buddy that was a wrestler. Uh-huh. And one night, we was playing around in the snow. And I got flipped like 4 times.
No shit.
Every time I got up, I got back up. I hit the ground 4 times. I said, man, I gotta learn something. I gotta learn something. It hurt my pride.
Right,
too
right.
bad, you know. And I just went into a rec center. I was staying in Hammond at the time.
Uh-huh.
I went into a rec center, and it was a guy by the name of Miguel Torres. He was a big WEC Shudo MMA guy.
Uh-huh.
And I just started doing jiu-jitsu, bro. Literally started doing jiu-jitsu. Miguel Torres, I still see him to this day. At the time, I was probably 23 with 2 kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could not afford a membership.
Right.
You know what I mean? Honestly. And he was like, oh, he would always tell me, Jim, you're so strong, bro. You know, because I went from lifting weights to wanting to try some wrestling or some jiu-jitsu or any type of combat sports. He's like, you're so strong, you know, man. Just whenever you could come. He gave me my first Brazilian jiu-jitsu gi. You know, I still got it to this day.
No shit.
Whenever you want to come, you can come. You know what I mean? So I'm indebted to him forever for introducing me to jiu-jitsu. But I didn't take it seriously back then. But yeah, that's how I got started, man. Miguel Torres, he's still out there in East Chicago, Indiana. Soldier, you know.
Yeah, still teaching to this day.
Still teaching to this day, man. Yeah. He had over 40 MMA and UFC, WEC fights. He fought in the UFC too.
Okay. Over 40.
Yeah, over 40. He would.
Because I know that name.
Miguel Torres.
Yeah,
He would literally line us all up, 7, 8 guys, right? And he would roll, and rolling is the term for jiu-jitsu. He would roll with everyone in the room nonstop. And I'm not talking about 5 guys. I'm talking about 7 or 8 guys, to the point by the end it looked like his eyeballs was going to pop out of his head. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, he's a tough man, and I'm telling you, he's bantamweight. He can't be 135.
No shit.
He fought at 135. He probably walks around at 145. You know what I mean? But he was a killer back in the day. Yeah.
So, obviously, when you first started, man, it just sounded like it was just something to do, something for you to learn.
Oh yeah.
So when did it switch into something like, okay, like it went from you just something you doing to like, this is a passion, like you want to see it all the way through?
I think it instantly was a passion because I always needed it. You know, even if it was 3 months, I would always come back to it. When I was on the road with the railroad, I would rotate. Like I would do 3 weeks in one little small town in Indiana and 3 weeks. But I would always find me somewhere to do jiu-jitsu. And no matter how crazy that little town was, the place that I found to do jiu-jitsu was all love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would always go back to it, but I didn't take it seriously. I literally was a white belt for probably 8 years. I didn't take it seriously at all. I would roll for 3. You know, I would come for a month and just take 6 months off.
Yeah.
Come for a month, take 6 months off. So I've been back consistently for 10 years now.
So there wasn't like a moment where you just like, or like a place that you really just decided like, okay, I'm gonna take this seriously now.
When I got back to Chicago.
Okay.
When I was able to come back to Chicago, I said I'm going to take this seriously.
Okay.
You know, once I gave up with traveling for the railroad and I was at Amtrak full time, that's when I said I was going to take it seriously.
Okay. So where did you start? Like, where's the gym that you first started going to?
After that, I went to a place called Mota. That was the place I started going consistently. So Mota was in Chinatown.
Okay.
And it's so weird because it was so crazy because I worked at Amtrak on Roosevelt.
Okay, so it was right there.
It was right there. So I worked 3 to 11, and their jiu-jitsu class would start at 7. So that was my lunchtime. So I don't know, you know, I'm going to tell it. But that was where I was at 4 days a week for lunch. I would literally go and do jiu-jitsu for an hour and come back. You know what I mean? So it kept me going. You know what I mean? So, and that was when I really realized, you know what I mean? I got my blue belt from Ramiro. You know? Okay. You know?
So is that when you did Worlds? Is that
I didn't do Worlds until I got to Carson Gracie.
Okay.
Yes. So I did Worlds at Purple.
You were Purple, right? Purple, right.
Carson Gracie. So right after I didn't get my blue belt from Ramiro, I ended up getting my blue belt from I did get my blue belt from Ramiro. I ended up getting my purple belt from Carson Gracie. Okay. And that was when I did Worlds.
Okay. You know? And how did you do in Worlds?
I had 5 fights, and I lost my 5th one. Yeah. And the craziest part about Worlds is that, you know, usually in a local tournament, you know, it's 3 to go.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When I say 3 to go, you get 3 wins.
And you're on top of the podium.
In Worlds, it's literally a world champion.
Yeah.
Like, so people are coming from, you know, sometimes people, man, it was held in Vegas.
Right.
So sometimes people they might even come in from overseas. You know, you get a lot of guys coming in from overseas. You got people from California, LA, New York, Atlanta, just all over the world. You know, so I would have needed 6 wins to get gold. So I did 4, and I lost my 5th one, and that only got me the bronze.
But you was on the podium, though.
But I was on the podium. I was happy. I mean, like
I'm
was
sure,
unbelievably happy because
to even place at Worlds, bro. Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
It's tough, and if people don't know it, it's one and done. You lose one fight, you're out of the tournament.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you fly to Vegas. If you flop your first round,
you lose your first match, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Pass the drink. You know what I mean? It's time to just drink for the rest of the weekend.
Right, just sit back and watch. That's horrible.
The pressure is enormous, man.
Wow.
And that year, I mean, that was when I was going everywhere. I did Atlanta. I did LA. I did Pans in LA. I want to say I took 2nd in Pans. I did Chicago. I did New York. You know what I mean? So I was really that year. I was just really just traveling, training, and competing, man. I was laser focused, man. It was beautiful, you know.
Yeah, man. So now you're a black belt. So did you, even when you were like, it went to blue and then purple, did you see yourself becoming a black belt one day?
I never thought about it, bro.
Really?
I love jiu-jitsu that much. I never thought about it. I just wanted to roll. I just wanted to get better. I just like those light switches turning on where you're like, oh, man, I couldn't do this last year. Now I can. I just loved it. I never thought. Only time I thought about it was at Brown. It was different stages when I knew I thought I was ready. Really at blue, when I wanted my purple, at Mota, I kind of really wasn't ready. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was another one of them things where, your life just transitions you into where you need to be.
Right.
So when I went to a new gym, I'm like, wow, okay. Now I'm getting what I need to be at purple. You know what I mean? And that's just pretty much how it worked, man. And I never thought about it, though. And I try to tell people that, and it's like, how long does it take to get to black belt? You can't really think about it, bro, because it's so long. It's a
long time.
It's way long. You got to think about it. Full-time jiu-jitsu is 3 times a week.
Right.
For 10 years.
Yeah.
That's more than a doctor's degree or equivalent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And only time I really been doing just 3 days a week was since I opened my own place. Before then, I was probably training 5 to 6 times a week. Up until I really slowed down at this point. I used to go to a noon class normally,
right, and
try to make it to a night class. So I was actually more than full-time jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You was younger then too.
I was much younger.
yeah.
And I couldn't. You can't do that much jiu-jitsu and really focus on your business. So right now, that's what I'm doing. Really focusing on my business because I get tunnel vision when I get too into jiu-jitsu. Yeah,
and it's really easy to do.
It really is, man.
Because I know, because I don't have I do have a timeline.
Right.
Because it really, for me, it wasn't until probably, man, when I finally got my blue belt from you, and then I really started to really see my game elevate. Cause I didn't know, just like for you, man, it was really just something I thought was cool. I was just doing it. Yeah. And then man, once I got to blue, and like I said, I saw myself elevating, man, and now I kind of I see myself as a lifer, but it's just eventually I definitely see myself, you know what I'm saying, God willing, you know what I'm saying, as long as I'm able to keep rolling and still training and competing, I definitely, see myself, and it's a goal, but it's not that's not the reason I'm doing it though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just, for me, it's just kind of like a part of the package.
The main reason is that fire right there to get better.
Yeah.
It's not really we don't really look, you're not really, a lot of people, some people do, but most people, it's just, you just want to be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you just want to see those transitions. You want to meet those goals. Okay, now I want to work on this game. And then that game started coming. You know what I mean? Then you want to work on this aspect of your game, and that starts coming. So it all builds, So, and the beauty of it is it never stops.
And that's the thing. So even knowing all that, and so you got your purple belt.
Right.
So then, because you started teaching at purple, right?
I started teaching because I had a gym.
Right.
I couldn't find nobody to teach for me. I'm on the south side. Nobody wanted, and I asked around. Right. Nobody wanted to, and what black belt wants to teach for a purple belt? owner. You know what I mean?
Right.
So shout out to a BJJ black belt, black African American black belt by the name of Lloyd Irvin. And he truly motivated me. I mean, he's, I have a lot of mentors that don't even know they're my mentor. You know what I mean? But he's my mentor. I followed him. I read his story. I've talked to him several times just in passing, but he started really early teaching, and he's one of the top American Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools in the United States.
Yeah, I know you. So you got me looking at Lloyd Irvin, man. Like the way he does that with the micro drilling.
Oh, my goodness, man.
Yeah, man, you could just see. And like, he be producing just monsters.
A machine like world class, Grand Slam jiu-jitsu practitioners.
And he's so cool.
Humbly.
How he teaches, you know what I'm saying? I never met him, but I've just like you've seen him, I've seen the videos and all that other stuff. But he just like the way he teaches his style, he's so cool.
Bro, he is super cool. Like, for what he's done, super cool, bro. You know what I mean? So I mean, people come from Brazil to train with him. People come from all over. If you look him up, if you follow him, man, like it's unbelievable what he's done. But what he does is he gets these kids. He's in Maryland, around Maryland, D.C., Baltimore area. Okay. But he gets these kids early, and he'll keep the kid from like 5 and bring them up into jiu-jitsu. So now they're like the Mayweather of jiu-jitsu. Like these guys were getting their black belts in 6 years. But they would double their training. They were training twice. Some of these guys training twice a day, 5 days a week, with no job, no family, no kids. You know what I mean?
Right. When you got the time. Different. We got other obligations, other responsibilities. We got to pay bills and shit. You know what I'm saying?
They're really full-time jiu-jitsu, but they're phenomenal, dude. They're like they wiping the mats with people. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, man. So, is there anything that you plan to do beyond this now? You know, now that you've gotten your black belt, like what do you just do?
Once I get this business where I need it to be, I want to get back to it, man. I want to get back to competing. I miss it, bro. You know what I mean? Even when I go and coach you guys, like I get the jitters. Like you've heard me say, I'm sweating and I'm not even doing anything, dude. I hate every time I get there. It's like, man, I wish I had. But I like to prepare. Like I'm the person that prepares. Like I go through a full training camp. Yeah. When it comes in, I know. We go through a full training. Like we take this very seriously. Like this is the Olympics. You know what I mean? To us, our own personal Olympics, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. It really is just for us. It's not. You know what I'm saying?
It's not for anything.
It's not to like impress other people or to say I did this. And you know what I mean? You're gonna be proud of yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it really is, man. It's just like that rush that you get. There's nothing else quite like it.
Nope.
You know,
people don't understand. You can ride a motorcycle, you can fly a plane.
Right.
There's a different type of high of winning and elevating in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and
because it's so tough. It's like you have to realize, like a lot of these martial arts, they don't spar. Yeah. Boxing, they don't spar every day. They can't. They'd have brain damage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can do jiu-jitsu every day.
Every class we
can spar every single class. And when we say spar, like we go at each other's head. Like we're trying to manipulate joints.
Right.
Till the person taps. We're trying to choke the person till either they tap or go to sleep. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people scream before they tap. You know what I mean? But we shake hands and we build a bond afterwards. It's the weirdest thing you could ever think of. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand it. Like, why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to do that?
I mean, and it's cool because even with the people that you match up with at tournaments that you don't know. Yeah. And you end up like, you can build relationships with them afterwards.
Bro, you can see them anywhere. And you could have choked them to sleep. And they were like, hey! It's the weirdest thing. All walks of life, bro. Man. Judges, lawyers, everything,
I'm talking about you just never know who these people are that are stepping on this mat.
You never know, bro. Yeah. I've seen kids, man, like that have been doing jiu-jitsu since they were 5. And they're 16 now. And I've seen them in class, and they'll have their little, GameCube or whatever, and they'll play on it. And class starts, they'll put it down, take their glasses off, and get on the mat and wipe the mat with grown men. Because that's the beauty of it. Yeah, you know what I mean. So,
and just being able to like, especially because that strength, I mean, it matters, but not more than the technique.
Not more than the technique.
So if you got superior technique, man, the superior strength doesn't even matter. And a lot of people because it's counter because I talked about my story. And when I first, my first ever, sparring,
Right.
rolling with in jiu-jitsu, and I'm thinking just because I'm bigger and stronger, that I should be able, to at least manhandle this person. And
Never worked out that way.
man, Joe, jiu-jitsu will humble you more than anything else I've ever experienced in my life, man.
There's literally world-class women that could have their way with grown men. That's the beauty of it. Like, to sum it up, and I've experienced it. 120-pound woman that is world class. I'm at purple or blue. And I say, okay, well, the first time I roll with her, I'm gonna use a little strength. I'm not gonna be a hole or anything.
Right.
She catches you. You know what I mean? You say, okay, well, I'm gonna step it up.
Say I was taking it easy.
I was taking it easy.
Yeah. Let me show her what's up.
She catches you again. So the third time, you say, you know what? I'm not having this. I'm still not gonna be. I'm not gonna throw her across the mat.
Right.
But I'm still going, bro. It's in the technique. If she can't get your arm, she's gonna get your foot. If she can't get your foot, she's gonna get your neck. If she can't get your neck, you know what I mean? It's just her time. It's timing, and precision, technique. And if you don't have the years in, you're just not gonna catch up with the person. And that's also the beauty of it. You never, unless the other person stops, you can never catch up with the other person. Either he has to stop, or that person beneath you has to double their training.
Right. Yeah. And that was a crazy thing because that was a big motivating factor for me when I was at White, and I saw when Eric and Bruce got their blue belts. I was just like, man, I need to, you know what I'm saying? And so when we had that time off, and I was doing all them solos, man, like, this one, I'm finna catch them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's the only way. And you'll be surprised, like when you come back, you're like, wow, I used to couldn't do this to this person.
Yeah,
this person was literally dominating me, and now that person has taken 2 years off, and I've consistently doubled my training for 2 years. Now we running neck and neck. It's a beautiful thing. It's like you can't buy it. You know what I mean?
Nah.
And they say the most valuable things are the things you can't buy. You can't buy jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? You got to put it in.
You can't buy your belts. I mean, I'm sure there are some places where they'll probably give you a play.
But the mat's going to show, though.
That's
what I mean.
Like,
you can buy it from your coach. You give him $1,000. But when they put you on the mat, I'm going to instantly see where you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to see. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? That's one of the beautiful things, though.
Yeah, man. Nah, there is just a lot of beauty in the humility that comes with it because you can't really have an ego. Because just like you said, man, somebody that's half your size or even a woman that's half your size can literally wipe the mat with you. And you can't get mad. You can't get all upset. It is what it is.
It only get better.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when you go and lose. Sometimes I tell people all the time, don't invite your family to your first. Because it's not for them. It's for you.
Right.
So when you get there and you choke, because all of these people are watching and screaming, or you don't. A lot of times I would, that would motivate me. Like, I got my daughter here.
Right.
My son is really sitting here watching me. I have to go as hard as possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
But a lot of people, especially in the beginning, they choke. And they're like, what happened? And I'm looking at them like, bro, you're a monster in the gym. You just got in your head.
Yeah.
And that's with everything. Entrepreneurship, that's what life. If you can get out of your head and really put the work in.
Right.
And the sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's a different game when them lights is on, man. Oh. And you sitting across with somebody and you don't know them and they don't know you. And
their family is there too.
Right. And they, that intensity level is just.
I remember one time I went and lost. I don't know, I remember maybe blue, maybe purple. I went and lost. Asian guy, really, really strong. But I sat and after I lost, he ran over to he had like 2 twin kids. And he ran over to his kids and said, Dad. And I said to myself, it just wasn't my time, bro. It was his time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's life.
Yeah.
I've wanted a contract and wasn't ready for it. 10 years ago, I wasn't ready for it. You know what I mean? The things that are coming my way now. You know what I mean? And it's the same way in jiu-jitsu. It wasn't my time.
Yeah.
I got to go back to the drawing board and I got to get better. But it was his time. It was his day. You know what I mean? And that's happened to me plenty of times,
So, and I know it's something that we talk about, and you mentioned Lloyd Irvin, right? And he's a prominent figure in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
He's a black man.
Right.
But there aren't a lot of us.
Very few.
In this space, especially in places of prominence.
Yep.
So, like, just in your opinion, man, like, why do you think that is, and what do you think can be done to like further that?
I think it's 100% ego, man. You know, like we have to humble ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is the most humbling experience. And give you an example: a person can be a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a white belt in life, or a black belt in life and a white belt in jiu-jitsu. But when we all hit the mat, we all the same people.
Yeah.
One person could have a GED and the other person could have a doctor's degree. The guy with the GED could be a black belt. The guy with a doctor's degree, a lawyer, doctor, a judge, can be a white belt.
And he's used to winning everywhere else. Yeah.
And sometimes you can see it on the mat where you had to tell him, shh, you're not at work, bro.
Yeah. You don't run this here.
You don't run this here.
Yeah.
You have to open your ears and close your mouth. You know what I mean? And that's the hardest part for some people. If who would start, just like Johansi's dad.
Right.
He started this, he's retired. He's taking one jiu-jitsu class. My hat goes off to him.
Right.
At 62 years old.
Yeah.
Who would want to learn? The average person would not want to learn anything at 62.
Yeah, you know, feel like they got it all figured out. But you still have that spirit of learning and humility.
This thing will keep you sharp in every aspect of your life. You know what I mean? So I think that's the hardest part for a lot of people. Being humble, because the first thing people say is, you invite them to jiu-jitsu, you're not gonna beat up on me. Why would I do that? Like that doesn't. I want to introduce my people to jiu-jitsu. We've been doing karate for years as a people, and not one karate guy has won a fight. I'm being funny, but
but in
all
real.
Actuality, we've given a lot of money to these karate schools, and they have not taught our children something that's quality. You know what I mean? How to really, truly handle themselves.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, an altercation is going to end up on the ground.
Somebody, you going to end up physical, somebody going to grab a hold of something. Yeah.
A lot of jiu-jitsu is about grip strength.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming at you with a knife or anything like that. You want to be able to control that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of us need to change, like, the way we think about things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nobody's here. I don't want to beat up on nobody. It serves. I don't get better. Yeah. I get better from going and rolling with other black belts.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't get better from beating up on white belts. I really don't.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing. There are always people that think that, like, they're like, we gonna be in there just beating up on everybody. You know what I'm saying?
We all have jobs. Sometimes I have to be on a ladder all day.
Right.
Why would I want to? Why do I want to be in gladiator school?
Right.
Of course, we turn it up when it comes to tournament time, but I'm going to tell Real, don't take it personal. We're going to go hard. Today.
Yeah.
And Real, man, let's do it. You know what I mean? Nothing to hurt each other, but we're going to make each other better at every aspect of life. And people don't understand. Like, so as men and as black men, we don't have a lot of outlets.
Nah.
Our main outlet is going to the bar and drinking. We have very few healthy outlets. If you think about it as a man, how many people can you call and say, let's go have a drink? Probably 20.
Yeah,
right?
Quite a few.
How many people can you call and say, hey, you want to roll? You want to do jiu-jitsu tonight? What, you got 3? You know what I mean? Literally 3 people. Yeah. So it doesn't involve alcohol. It's empowering. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's healthy. It stops us from drinking and smoking so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the good aspects of it. And I don't understand why people don't understand. Like, you need that.
And even with the presence of jiu-jitsu growing, and it's growing fast. I mean, you got it's not even just because before, like, the only place you would really see jiu-jitsu was in the UFC or in the PFL, in mixed martial arts. But now you got flow grappling, where it's really just like huge jiu-jitsu tournaments, right? Where you got people like Gordon Ryan making hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Doing these matches.
Yeah. When I started, it was the weirdest thing. Nobody knew what jiu-jitsu was.
Right.
And people don't really know what it is now, but even back then, nobody knew. I did jiu-jitsu till I was probably a purple belt, well in the blue. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's growing, but of course, we're still behind in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I just feel like, especially from an athletic standpoint, and even though it's because it's a sport that is still kind of like on the up and coming, but there's a space for a lot of people to really do well in it. Yeah,
it's a huge space for it. Yeah.
And to just improve and you just think about, like, here in Chicago and in Illinois and all the schools that are here, but none of them are really operated by people that look like us.
No, there's only 2 African American owned and operated jiu-jitsu gyms in Chicago. Legitimate jiu-jitsu gyms with a lineage.
Yeah.
In Chicago. There's 2, and I'm one of them. You know what I mean? There's probably 10. My numbers may be all, but 10 or 12 jiu-jitsu black African American jiu-jitsu black belts in Chicago. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's very, very few. When I started, you had to drive 40 minutes south or 40 minutes west to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
There was literally nothing on the south side, especially gi. Okay, you got those no-gi schools.
Right.
That's more like a gladiator thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to – I've always said that I like to – everybody has to go to work. You know what I mean? It's not like a bunch of kids in here that's just going to be no technique and throwing people across the mat.
Right.
You know what I mean? We want as little injuries as possible. You know, MMA is, I call it MMA jiu-jitsu, but it's that no-gi, piss and vinegar, everybody's elbowing and throwing punches when you really shouldn't be.
Right.
This is about technique. You should be able to do jiu-jitsu when you're 70 years old. You really should.
That's
you know
the plan.
I mean? So, yeah. So,
yeah. Well, hopefully, man, you know, because, I mean, the presence, it continues to grow. Because I know, I mean, eventually, you know, me being as into it as I am, and, you know, and I try to tell everybody about it, you know what I'm saying, as much as I can. And I just try to hopefully increase the footprint as much as we possibly can. Because I really do think, and I mean, I look at it just like you do. I mean, there's so many benefits to it, you know, and it's done so much for me personally. Yeah. You know, I kind of want other people to experience that as well. Yeah. So, you know, and just something like just a more positive outlet, man. Yeah. You know, and something other like another level of self-defense that outside of just the typical karate, you know, that black people, the people of color can gravitate to. Yeah, man. Yeah. So,
and I mean, just for women, I think it's the most empowering thing.
Absolutely.
It really is, because, you know, it's like the basis of it is to be able to beat a bigger, stronger opponent,
right,
with just technique. You know what I mean? And my hat goes off, and I've seen several women in it, but it's just we need more. You know what I mean? Awareness. I hate to see somebody think that they can overpower a person just because of their size. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just not cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that ego.
It's a huge ego. You know what I mean? So we need more of it, man. I wish more people just tried it. Really, really tried it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like I said, I was talking about this last time, man. It's so wild, like the amount of people that ask me on a regular basis and they, like, come to me with it. Bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
If you see if I let you see like Facebook, like people over the years, people have told me I'm going to be there. What time does class start? And I have to cut and paste it every time. And nobody literally shows up. It's like bringing people to Jesus, man. It's harder than trying to get somebody to come to church. They're like, "No, bro, I ain't ready. I'm not ready to give my soul." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Bro, it's good for you, man. I think you really enjoy it." But, you know, I've seen people just come to me and their blood pressure has come down. Their flexibility has gotten better. You know what I mean? Their mobility has gotten better. They sleep better. You know what I mean? They have less anxiety. You got to understand, like, we as men, we have so much noise throughout the day.
Yeah.
Kids, job, side hustle, everything. You know what I mean? We want, you know, it's so much that we want to do. And I've had so much on my mind throughout the day. And the only time I had silence or peace when I'm trying to choke another individual, or trying not to be choked or armbarred or submitted for 6 minutes by another individual. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just that. It's that.
And it's weird that that's like the time of peace.
Of peace. You would think that would be the craziest time, but that is the only time of peace. When you have somebody, I'm 185 and another guy's 250, and that guy's 250 pounds trying to drive his knee through my stomach, and I'm sitting here trying to survive. I'm not thinking about my problem for the day. I'm not thinking about who pissed me off.
Nah. You thinking about the motherfucking problem at hand.
Right at hand.
Yeah, right then and there.
That's the peace. And to be completely exhausted after 6-minute rounds, and to just sit there and just get your partner that fist, man. Take your gi off.
Yeah, man.
Can barely drive home. You know what I mean?
That's when we first, man, when we had those big classes, man.
It was gladiator college, man.
And we used to have like those 5, 6 minute rounds. You know what I'm saying? One after the other, man. And yeah, you just be exhausted. But it's like you're exhausted, but at the same time, you just feel like you just released like everything.
Everything.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is just so light. Everything you was thinking about beforehand, all the problems you thought you had before that, it don't matter at that moment. You just survived this. So you feel like if you can survive this,
tomorrow is nothing.
Yeah, everything else is, it's a piece of cake.
Nothing. I can't feel my legs, but nothing's tomorrow at work I can feel my legs, but nothing's gonna piss me off.
No.
You don't understand what I just went through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And survive. So
yeah. And it's also the fact that, like, you know, if people do ever like come at you sideways, and it's just like you don't have to do anything, but it's just the fact that, like, bro, I could murder you.
No clue. I've choked you 7 times in my brain.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, I've already gone through the steps of what's going to happen.
What's going to happen? And you have no clue. You can't stop it.
You have absolutely no idea.
You have no clue. And that's the funniest part. And it's usually the nicest, humblest, not the loudest guy.
Right.
It's
nothing
so
rah
funny.
about it.
And
Nothing. Absolutely.
The higher you go, the more you can see it. You probably can see it now where you just be looking like, that dude, he's not going to throw rice. But this quiet guy,
absolutely. And that's probably, man, through all my years of exposure and being around, one of the main things I've learned is, bro, you never know who you dealing with. because you know what I'm saying, that may be, like you said, it's somebody that may just be like a little tech computer geek, or, you know, just not much in regular life.
He trains in murder. Yeah.
And it just be like really small, unassuming, quiet, humble, never wants to start nothing. But it's just like, if you ever actually start something with this person, he will destroy you. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, and you will, and these are people that you will look at, you know, with a regular eye, and be like, oh man, I ain't got to worry about that dude. And that dude will break your arm in 5 places before you even realize what happened.
Yeah, he's being nice.
Right.
5 breaks.
Yeah, exactly.
He's being nice.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He could have paralyzed you.
Yeah, that's the beauty.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, just, hey man, be careful out here. You think you're running up on somebody, you thinking it's sweet.
It's a different world, you know.
Yeah, man. You just never know.
Very few people train, but when they do, they're very serious, man. And some of these people, the average blue belt can beat the average person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so rare. I know you ran down the stats last time, but
yeah,
it's so rare for people to make it to blue.
Which is crazy, because, like,
it's bananas.
Yeah, and because I did, honestly, man, when I looked at that, I didn't think that percentage. You say it was only 10% of people that start Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu make it to blue, and that's only the second level.
Look, if we had 10 people, who's here?
And that's real.
You know what I mean?
And that's
who made it to blue out of those 10 white belts? Just think about it.
And just think about, like, the people that I was with. All those other people have dropped off.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to sum it up, it's 2 years. There's an average of 2 years between each belt.
Yeah.
Blue, purple, brown, and black.
And that's crazy because, like, I had already had experience, but right. I still had to train for 2 years with you.
Yeah. It takes 2 years. Yeah. You can go somewhere, you can come somewhere, you can think you understand jiu-jitsu and have no clue.
And that was the thing, like, I like the very, very small nuances, man, and that stuff, it was like that. I really, like, I knew what jiu-jitsu was, but I didn't know for real, and so it's definitely like a different understanding that I have of it now. Thanks to you, sir.
No problem, brother. Anytime. I remember Rail first came, man. He was like, I don't like this dude. You know what I'm saying? I used to think Rail didn't like me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get through to him, but I know that's just him now. But it was like, it took some time. It takes some time for people to really understand that you want to see them get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he gonna come. Eventually, he gonna come around. When he started getting better, he was like, yeah, this dude really want me to get better.
Yeah.
That's all you know what I mean?
And it did take a little. So it was funny because, like, I used to think the same shit about you.
What?
Oh, like, yeah? It's like, man, I don't know if you fuck with me.
Oh,
man.
Yeah. No, I was like, man, Big Rail probably don't like me. It's gonna take some time
to
warm up to it,
but it's really just for me personally, and I know myself, like, it does take a little bit of time, you know what I mean, for me to get an understanding, and but I definitely saw the difference, like from when I first started coming there, you know, and it was, you know, and like I said, it did take some time, and a lot of that, and it wasn't, you know what I'm saying, anything. For me, it was like, because since I had been training for so long,
Right.
and I was still a white belt, and I felt like I knew some things,
Yep.
and then I realized, man, I really don't know shit.
Yeah. It's the tough, like me switching schools, going from the school I was at to Carlson Gracie, it was the toughest thing, bro, because I had to start all over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you think that you were at a place and you end up having to start all. That was a tough decision, bro. I didn't want to have to prove myself to somebody, because you really have to prove yourself to these people for these people to promote you, and you want it legitimately.
Yeah.
You want your coach to believe in you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you want the respect, and you want them to believe in you. You want to wear their belt proudly.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I got to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? And it was tough, man. And I get it, man. It's like you have to start all over, and you have to really understand what jiu-jitsu, you know what I'm saying? What jiu-jitsu is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, you know, because I've never questioned, like I never asked, hey man, so when you gonna give me that blue belt?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That
like,
pushes the date back.
Yeah.
that with anybody, when you coach that, you just come in, you keep your head down, and you grind.
Yeah.
You grind, you don't. And when you get to the point where you say, well, I can give him 200 of them, and he won't question it, you like, he want it. You know what I mean? He want it. He's ready. When he goes to his tournaments, man, he putting it all on the mat. He's fighting hard. And the thing is that, like we said, it shows on the mat. When other people come in, as a coach that understands jiu-jitsu, you can sit and look, and you can see where your guys are at right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you don't. It's like, it's one of them things where you don't want something, and I know you don't want it unless you earn it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's how you get to.
Absolutely.
You know, that's how you don't want to fake it. You don't want to just be thrown to you. You know what I mean?
Because it's just like you say. Because you know, if you give me a purple and I haven't earned it, when I do go somewhere, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to, like, you know, because I don't want to be with somebody to roll with me like, nah, he ain't really a purple.
They over there whispering like, man, he gave him a purple.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, he legit.
He's legit.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
And I feel like ain't nobody ever been able to say that about me.
Right. I mean, you know, and your people, you know, people will come to you and they say, man, you got real, man. He done got good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Like you know, that's how people will talk, and that's what lets you know that you're giving your guys what they need, and they also putting in the work.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a combination of two. You got to give these people what they need, but they also have to come in and show up. And after a while, it's like it takes about a year for people to stop questioning you. You know what I mean? Like, we let everything else get in the way. Like we said, like, you're a doctor outside of this.
Right.
But you can't, it's not that math. It's a different type of math. You know, you just have to sit and wait for that light switch to come on.
Yeah.
And when it comes on, that's when you're gratified. And that's what's going to motivate you. At first, I'm trying to get you that gratification.
Yeah.
But when the light comes on, now you gratified when you like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the next light switch to come on.
Yeah,
you know?
because it's even now, man, I notice, like, when other, like, newer people come in and they first start training and doing, like, I find myself correcting and teaching them without even really thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's really just to see, like, man, from when I first started coming, like, end of 2018, when I finally got serious in 2019, to here where I am now, and just seeing, like, man, how much I've improved personally, you know. And man, and that's really been the most gratifying thing, bro. Just to see that growth and that development. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my 7 foes. Only a few people gonna get that. You know what I'm saying? But to see that, man, over the years, man, and you know, and it really is. And even at, you know, like, it's like, you know, we not old, but we not young either. But it's just something, man, to really just keep us going, to keep us motivated. And this stuff really translates, man, like that discipline that we have. You know, it comes from this, and we use it there, but it radiates into the rest of our lives.
The whole life.
Yeah, man.
The whole life. Everything. Patience. Patience is huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Patience. It's not my time. I want it to be my time. I want to be purple. I want it.
Yeah.
It's not my time.
Yeah.
I'm still getting beat. I'm still getting beat by blue belts.
Yeah.
I'm not a purple. I'm still getting in horrible positions by white belt. I'm not a purple. I want it. but it ain't your time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's that aspect, it helps me a whole lot. And even at Black, bro, it's still not over. You know what I mean? It's actually a little worse. You know what I mean? Because now there's no intimidation factor.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no strength factor. There's pure heart now.
Yeah.
It's heart and technique now. You know what I mean? I used to went on at Blue. I used to went off sheer aggression.
Yeah.
And you give me that leg, I'm boom. And he's zapped now.
Right.
He's going no. You at Black, you take him down, they pop him right back up. I ain't got to take him down again, and they pop him right back up.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot of heart involved now. People are lucky. They're saying it. They'll say, "Man, I'll be lucky if I win a match." You know, at Black.
Right.
So it gets much harder.
Yeah. But, you know, and we continue to grow.
Yes, sir.
And you continue to do it, man, you know. So, you know, I mean, even though well, I'll probably never catch up to you, but.
See, that's the motivating factor, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
How, as a Black belt, that's where your ego comes in and it motivates you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to think about it. Now I'm thinking like, if I show you the submission, I need to be thinking about the defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got to run. If Rail said he got on the treadmill for 15 minutes today, oh, man, I got to go to mine and get on for 30. You know what I mean? If he deadlift 225, man, I got to deadlift 275. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's good competition.
Absolutely.
And that's competition that we should or could keep for however many years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just making each other better.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Well, this has been good, man. You know what I'm saying?
And
I definitely appreciate you coming through, man, blessing my platform, man. Dropping all these jewels and knowledge on entrepreneurship and jiu-jitsu.
I love it, bro.
Yeah, man. And there's not a lot of people out here, man, that can say they do or have done as much as you have, bro.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? Especially at the level that you're doing it.
Thank you.
You know, and still be as humble as you are, man. You wouldn't because a lot of people like the way they accolades on their chest.
I ain't did nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I mean, you know, this is what we do. You know what I mean? I don't see no other way. You know what I mean? I got to keep myself busy. You know what I mean? We got to keep ourselves busy. You know.
Absolutely, man. That's motivating from the outside looking in. It's just like, you know, you surround yourself with the people, you know, that are kind of like of like minds and want to do the same things, and and even if if you're not at that level yet, the level that you want to be at, you know.
And we motivate each other. Like you could motivate me to podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how we do. Like that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? And us gravitating towards, even with Eric or anybody else that comes to jiu-jitsu, I talk to them extensively about things,
right?
Just so I can learn.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Man, you never know if somebody could teach you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, man. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Channel 914. Thank you once again to my guest, Jim Williams, man.
Brother. Thank you for
having me. You know what I'm saying? Fucking pillar of the community. Yeah, man. So till next time, you know, and to continue to like, support, watch, subscribe, tell all your friends and family, man, to check out Channel 914 on YouTube. And we'll holler at y'all next time. Peace.
Peace, y'all.